This is like the quietest robot vacuum I ever used. I just let it air dry and unfortunately it started to develop the moldy stink. It also auto dispenses it. You don't have to add solution to your clean water tank, but it didn't really add enough solution. For that price, I expected better performance. Oh my god. Oh, I wanted. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Julia and I'm based in sunny Los Angeles. Today I'm gonna review the Narwal Freo, which is a robot vacuum and a mop combo. And in this video, I will explore its smart features, but I will also address some areas where the performance and the navigation fall short. So let's get into it. So I've been testing this robot vacuum for the past few weeks and I wrote down a lot of pros, but also a lot of cons. And I'm gonna start with the fact that this is a pretty pricey robot vacuum. It costs over $1,000 and I've been seeing it on sale quite a lot in the past few weeks, and the lowest price I could find was $1,000, and that's how much I paid for it plus tax. I believe it was around $1,100. So this was the most expensive robot vacuum I ever bought, and the reason why I decided to purchase it was mostly because of its amazing mopping functions. So when it comes to mopping, the Narwal Freo truly shines. It has 2 spinner mops, and a few years ago I thought it didn't really matter. The spinner mopping pads really make a difference. I didn't know it until I tested it and I was pretty impressed. The mopping function really works exceptionally well and it always leaves my floors spotless and smelling amazingly well. I would say it really stands out of like some of the other robot vacuums that I tested. It really provides an impressive cleaning performance. The mopping pads are super easy to maintain. You don't really have to do anything. Like all you have to do is fill out the water tank and empty the dirty water tank, but you don't have to wash the mopping pads yourself, which was honestly such a hassle since I started testing the Narwal Freo. I stopped washing the mopping pads, which I actually had to do with the previous robot vacuums, and it was such a pain. So I really just, I love it. Like I just saw the difference. I saved so much time and it's just so much less frustrating to deal with it. Like I don't mind emptying the dustbin, I don't mind filling out the water tank, but cleaning the super nasty dirty mopping pads was something that I really dread. So with the Narwal Freo, you don't have to do it. The robot does it for you, so it always washes the mopping pads after every wash cycle, and also like you can determine in the app how often you want the robot to go back to the charging station to clean the mopping pads. So that's something that I really love and I can tell the difference. Like it really works. The only thing I had an issue with, I turned off the fast drying setting on the mop, so I just let it air dry and unfortunately it started to develop the stink, the moldy stink. So I cleaned the mopping pads and I went back to just using the fast drying setting and that smell disappeared and I never had issues since then. So I would recommend using the fast drying setting for cleaning the mopping pads, because if you don't live in Arizona or like some other dry climate, the mopping pads won't dry as fast as they should and they may get a little moldy, so that's something to keep in mind. I learned it the hard way. I tested the mopping pads after every single cycle and they were always very clean. So the cleaning option on the charging station works really well. I didn't have a need to like remove the pads and wash them by myself. It really works really well. I would say even maybe too well, because there's a lot of fiber like from the mopping pads left. They were left at least at the beginning in the charging station, so I had to remove the dog to clean it. So something to keep in mind. The cleaning option is so like thorough. And that's actually, I would say, one of the cons, that the mopping pads leave a little bit of lint. And yeah, it basically is something that I had to clean out, but I wouldn't say it's such a big deal. I still prefer that the robot cleans the mopping pads for me and I don't have to do it, so I can deal with a little bit of lint left over. And another thing which I really liked about the Narwal Freo is the versatility of the options that you get. So you get 4 different options. You can just vacuum, you can also vacuum and then mop, and you can vacuum and mop. That was the function that I used the most. And also you can just mop, and I also really love that function, because like if you have some fresh spills, you don't want it to vacuum and then mop, because you don't want any wetness inside of your vacuum. So you just want to use the mopping function, and then it will go back to the charging station, wash the mops, and you don't have to deal with it. So it's like very headache free. So I use those options a lot, and I love that I was able to choose that, because on some other robot vacuums that I used in the past, I didn't really get the option to like just mop or vacuum and then mop. It was always, you can just vacuum or you can vacuum and mop at the same time. So I love the versatility, I love the flexibility. It just really made my life easier. And let's talk about the vacuum performance. Obviously, that's like one of the most important functions of your robot vacuum. So it's very important to me. I run robot vacuum every single day. Like I have windows open in every single room in my apartment every single day. So there's a lot of dust coming in. Like you can hear, I'm on a busy street, so there's a lot of dirt that accumulates on the floors. And I also have a dog that sheds a ton, so I literally can't not vacuum every single day. Like it's not possible. Like there's just too much stuff, like dirt, dust, pet fur on the floor. So I always vacuum, and I was very surprised how well the Narwal Freo performed when it came to vacuuming on the lowest noise level. Like I thought it wasn't even working because it was so quiet. The dustbin was always full after every run. Actually, I checked, and the Narwal Freo accumulated more like dirt, like, you know, hair, dust after one single run than that the other robot that I have, the Roborock S7, which I was always happy with their performance, but I've noticed that definitely there was a lot more Narwal Freo accumulated. So I was very happy with the vacuum performance. I wouldn't say it's like the strongest vacuum you can get, and if you have a lot of carpet, it may struggle. Fortunately, I don't really have a lot of carpets. I literally have one carpet, so it's not that big of a deal for me. And I gotta say, this is like the quietest robot vacuum I ever used. I was insanely impressed because I hated using robot vacuums whenever I was here like working. I always had to turn them on when I would leave for a walk or like to get lunch, and sometimes it's kind of a pain. Like I want to be able to like vacuum while I'm here. And when I was using the Narwal Freo, it never annoyed me. When it was working here, when it was mopping and vacuuming, it was so quiet that it didn't bother me at all. So if you have like a baby, or you just like to be able to have the vacuum run when you are inside your home and you don't like when it's noisy, that's the robot for you. Like I love that. Like it was amazing. Compared to my Roborock S7, what a night and day difference. So I would say like that would be one of the biggest pros of that vacuum, how quiet and how well it performs. And the 2 brushes that are on the side, they never get tangled with hair, and that's something that was always an issue with all the other robot vacuums that I tested. Like there will be so much hair on those like side brushes. And with the Narwhal Freo, because it's a very different design from all the other brushes, they never get any hair tangled up. So another thing that I really liked about the Narwhal Freo were the brushes. The main brush, it still gets tangled with hair, and that's one of the cons, unfortunately. I wish it had one of those like rubber brushes that like a lot of other robot vacuums out there have. Like those brushes don't ever get tangled with hair, but again, then their side brushes get tangled with hair. So it's like, you know, I can't find the perfect robot vacuum yet, but I really like that they are trying. So hopefully in the newer version of the Narwhal Freo, they will have just the fully rubber main brush. So hopefully that problem would be eliminated, because yeah, the main brush did get tangled with hair, unfortunately. Oh, and another thing which I liked about the Narwhal Freo was the dustbin. So I kind of got used to the dustbins that come with like robot vacuums. I honestly hate the Roborock S7 dustbin. Like it's such a pain to clean. I always have to get in there with my hand and like pull it out. It's not the best design. Like the previous Roborock S6 and S5, like much better design of the dustbin, but S7, ugh, the worst. Anyhow, the Narwhal Freo, surprisingly, the dustbin, like literally you have it in your hand, you push the button, the bottom of the dustbin opens up and lands in the trash. So I didn't have any issues fully emptying it out. It always was very convenient, and yeah, I would say that's one of the pros. Definitely, if you don't want to get messy while emptying your dustbin, that's a great feature. Like the design of the dustbin is amazing. The only thing which I wish this robot had was also self-emptying, because at this price point, I see a lot of other robot vacuums that have the self-emptying station, and that would allow me to run this vacuum without, you know, my intervention for a long time. Unfortunately, every few days I would have to empty the dustbin. The good thing is that you get a notification on your phone when the dustbin is full. It actually works. I like that. I didn't have it with any other vacuums. Like they didn't have the option to notify me when it was time to empty the dustbin. So I really like that. It definitely helped me. Okay, and let's move on to the cons. Obviously, there are some, even honestly quite a lot compared to other vacuums. So let's talk about it. The first con that I've noticed was the navigation and the mapping function. So the vacuum was able to map the whole apartment at the first run. Unfortunately, it did it incorrectly. Like some of the walls were like crooked. Like that was very weird. The map like just wasn't great, and I never had that issue like with Roborock, for example. When it comes to some other robot vacuums like Edie, like that one was the worst. Like literally could not be able to like map the full place. So honestly, Narwhal wasn't the worst, but for that price, I expected better performance. So basically, I had to run it again, and the second time I closed some of the doors, and it seemed like it helped, and the robot finally got the map right. But like the first time when I tried to like adjust things, like put some different rooms in, it was such a pain. Like the Roborock app makes it so much easier. Like I love the Roborock app. The same app uses DreamTech vacuums, also use the same app, and I really like it. It's great. I wouldn't change anything about it. But I honestly am not a fan of this Narwhal. Here, let me show you. Like the app looks amazing. Like look at this. Like it loads. I mean, it takes a while, but like it looks good, you know, it looks good. So it's like, okay, but what I care about is the functionality and just being able to separate walls. Like it was impossible on the Narwhal app. Like I had to scan the whole apartment the second time to be able to separate some rooms, which for me, it's kind of unacceptable because like it takes so much time, and like I don't want to be frustrated using the app. You know, I'm paying so much money. I want this to be stress-free experience. So I would say one of the biggest cons is the app and the navigation. Actually, not the navigation itself, although a few times it did, you know, get tangled in the power cords, and one time the mopping pad like literally fell off, also again because it got wrapped up in the power cord, which like my Roborock never got tangled in. Like that power cord is there by the wall, and my Roborock somehow like avoids it every time, but Narwhal, there was always an issue. So I would say like these are the biggest cons of that robot vacuum. Like the mapping doesn't work that well, and the navigation like could be better. I wish like it was better at recognizing power cords and avoiding them. Like it's kind of unacceptable for me to come back home to a robot that is tangled in cords. Like that never happens with my Roborock, and the Roborock was like half the price, so yeah. Okay, and one thing that annoyed the shit out of me, oh my god, so the not disturb mode does not work. Like literally the first night that I got the robot, unpacked it, and I set it all up, the robot decided to auto update at AM at night. And even though I turned on the not disturb mode, I was aware, I was like, let me make sure that the robot won't make any noises at night. Well, it did, and not only it started playing some songs, you know, I'm updating, hello, wake up. Also the screen is one of the pros. I mean, I personally don't use it, but I know that some people that don't like to use app to control the vacuum could just use the screen and, you know, the touch screen, select the mopping. The screen has a lot of functionality, especially for people who don't like to use the app. I personally didn't get to really use the screen, but for like older people, I'm pretty sure it would be a lot more enjoyable to have that option to control the robot with the touch screen that is at the charging station. So that is a pro, not personally for me. And unfortunately, when the do not disturb mode didn't work, the screen was also like insanely bright, and that lasted like 5 minutes. I could not do anything because it was auto updating, so I couldn't turn it off, I couldn't do anything. It was kind of miserable. So I was very upset that the vacuum woke me up, even though I made sure that it was in do not disturb mode. It just doesn't work. So something to keep in mind, the first night you're gonna get it, make sure that it's away from your bedroom so you're not gonna get woken up. Okay, and another thing which I've noticed I really wanted to have more control over was the detergent. So the vacuum comes with the lemon basil detergent, and it also auto dispenses it, which is amazing. That's a great function because you don't have to add a solution to your, you know, clean water tank. But the thing is that I've noticed that it didn't really add enough solution to the water. Like I wouldn't be able to smell it at all. Like I feel like it wasn't also like cleaning as well as it could if there would be some more solution. So I was trying to find if there was an option to increase the amount of detergent, and unfortunately it's not an option. So I would say that's a con, at least it was for me. Like I ended up removing the detergent bottle and just adding the detergent. I'm using the method one by myself to the clean water tank. Not an ideal option, but I just noticed that it worked much better for me because at least after the mopping session, like my house, you know, my apartment here, and the floors would smell much better. So I would say that's also one of the cons, especially that the detergent that it comes with is very pricey compared to some other robot vacuums that you can also like come with the detergent. You can repurchase it and it's much cheaper than the Narwhal one. So, you know, too bad that I cannot add my own detergent. Like I would love if there would be like a bottle inside of the charging station that I can refill instead of buying a whole new detergent bottle from Narwhal. It just, you know, I'm not a fan of that detergent. I wish I could just use what I like the most. So it is what it is. The other thing is a pretty short lifespan of mopping pads. I've noticed that after pretty much every cycle, they would be like cleaned thoroughly. Like they were never dirty, but also the way they are getting cleaned inside of the charging station is so intensive that, like I mentioned before, there's a ton of lint left in the dog. And also I feel like the mopping pads were deteriorating pretty quickly. I think they're not gonna last more than 2 months, honestly. I feel like I could replace them already, and that's not great because the mopping pads that I've been using with my Roborock, like they lasted over 2 years every single day I use. So like I use them a lot and they're in much better shape than the mopping pads on the Narwal Freo. So I wish they were just better quality because I see that they're not gonna last that long. I washed this like a week or 2 ago and it's filthy. So this definitely has to be cleaned. Yeah, more than every 2 weeks, as you can see. Very dirty. And this is what it looks inside. Oh my god, that's disgusting. Wow. So while the Narwal Freo has some appealing features, it does fall short when it comes to navigation and mapping, issues with getting stuck, tripping over power cords, and a higher price point make it difficult to recommend it as a top-tier robot vacuum. However, if you value a very quiet operation and the touchscreen on the charging station, it still might be worth considering, because I haven't found a more quiet robot vacuum and also a robot vacuum that allowed you to fully control it with the charging station. Like that touchscreen, I know that is important to a lot of people. Not to me, but I know that some people will definitely value that. Ultimately, it's crucial to weigh the pros and cons against your specific needs and preferences before making a purchasing decision. After a thorough testing period, the Narwal Freo leaves me with mixed feelings. While it has some amazing smart features, touch controls, and quiet operation, its navigation and performance limitations are significant drawbacks. It just doesn't quite match the similarly priced competitors. So if you're in the market for a robot vacuum mop combo, it might be best to explore some other options that offer a more reliable and efficient cleaning experience. I'm gonna link a video below to another review I made of a robot vacuum that I liked more than the Narwal Freo. So feel free to check it out, and if you have any questions, as usual, don't be shy, leave them down below in the comments section. I'll make sure to reply on all of your comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon in the next video. Bye bye.